Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of 12 on Health. You're watching News 12 Connecticut, as local news gets. About 70,000 people in Connecticut alone have Alzheimer's or a related dementia. And since the number continues to grow as people live longer, Alzheimer's advocates are urging Congress to allocate more money to Alzheimer's research and to plan for the growing number of Alzheimer's patients. For a local man who is in on the fight, this is personal. After decades on a corporate mission.
I can't do my job anymore. I was diagnosed a year ago with early onset of Alzheimer's, and I'm no longer working.
Scott Russell of Ridgefield is now on a different mission.
Whimsical. I paint stuffed animals to hopefully get donations.
On this World Alzheimer's Day, Russell and others on the front line dealing with the disease.
My mom was diagnosed with early phase Alzheimer's 3 years ago.
Say they need research dollars and awareness.
Get people the facts about the disease.
Every 70 seconds, someone develops Alzheimer's disease. That is just one of the facts they want you to know.
There's a lot of exciting work. There's over 100 drugs in clinical trials right now. At the International Conference on Alzheimer's Disease, the researchers that presented were very optimistic that in our lifetime, they'll be able to develop drugs that will change the course of the disease.
While Russell hopes for big advances, he focuses on various small ways to
pay back and help other people. I make the most of my life while I have it. I'm going to be going through some clinical trials. You know, who knows if it's going to help me, but maybe it's going to help somebody else later on down the road.
So admirable, and he is so talented. Those stuffed animals truly are artwork. You can see them for yourself and even buy one by making a donation at your local Alzheimer's Association's upcoming Memory Walk. We have Anna Nelson here now with more about that upcoming walk and what's happening on the Alzheimer's front research-wise. Nelson is Regional Director of the Alzheimer's Association Connecticut chapter. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So many promising things on the research front, and you were bringing up the point that it all hinges on people getting involved in these clinical trials.
Absolutely. There's, as I mentioned before, there's about 100 clinical trials underway and dozens more that are actually ready to go from the laboratory to the clinical trials. The need right now is to get people to volunteer to participate in these studies. When you think about the fact that it takes about 18 months to recruit enough volunteers to participate in these studies, and each study lasts about 3 years, in order to go and test all those 100 drugs plus, it will bring us to the year 2030. By that time, we'll have 3 times the number of people with Alzheimer's.
Oh boy. What is the draw? What is the reason why a family member, a caregiver, ought to say to their loved one with Alzheimer's, let's look into this clinical trial?
I think it's very important. It gives the individual the opportunity, as Scott mentioned, to get the word out about the disease and to let others that they can still contribute and that this is something that they can contribute for generations to come.
And can you promise them they'll get good care?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the Alzheimer's Association just started a new service called Trial Match. And it's a service that matches people that are interested in clinical trials with clinical trials that are currently recruiting people in their area.
Nice. So they can find out the details of that specific one, what medication. Yes. Excellent. Tell us about the medications and the science that is really promising.
There's currently about four medications in the market that help with the symptoms for a period of time. 3 of them are called cholinesterase inhibitors, and what they do is they prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine in the brain, which is a chemical messenger that is important for memory, and they are Aricept, Exelon, and Razidine.
So it will help with the cognitive abilities?
That they help with that. There's also another drug called Namenda, and that's a different kind of chemical messenger that also helps with the cognitive symptoms. There's also medications in the market that address the behavioral and the psychiatric symptoms that present themselves. We like to suggest that families try the non-medical approach, and there's a number of strategies that can be incorporated along with the medications.
So is that based on a kind of behavior?
Exactly. We find that a lot of times some of the behavioral challenges are due to the environment. So it's a matter of looking closely at is it a new living arrangement? Are we changing the routine? People with Alzheimer's like to stick to their routine, so family caregivers can get some of those tips from the association. They can take part in some of our training programs.
Every Alzheimer's patient I've met has either communicated or shown signs of extreme frustration.
Right.
That is that something that can be worked with, that can be reduced?
Exactly, and a lot of it is in the approach. The association does a number of these trainings in the community on how to handle behavioral challenges, communication techniques, simple approaches. It's really a matter of looking about the way that we project ourselves with the individual, because as they lose their ability to communicate or the ability to understand word, a lot of the communication becomes nonverbal.
Gotcha. With the medication, you are looking for something that will change the course of this disease. You say it's realistic, we could see it in our lifetimes.
Yes.
Are you saying something that would literally slow the progress of it? Stop it where you find it?
Something that will change the course of the disease, that will allow the individual to stay at home for much longer and perhaps even for their entire course of the disease.
Okay.
That is wonderful news, isn't that?
Let us hope. The walk coming up October 3rd.
Exactly.
It's in Norwalk at Calf Pasture Beach. Registration's at 9. If you register in advance, show up and walk at 10.
And we have wonderful entertainment, and we're actually going to start with a Zumba class.
Zumba.
Yes.
Oh, that'll get everyone going. That's so much fun. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Anna Nelson, Alzheimer's Association. In just a moment, high-tech surgery for prostate cancer, how it works, and where it stands among various prostate cancer treatments. You're watching 12 on Health, your local source for cutting-edge medical news.
Because salaries at some point will be